Welcome to the 2019 Nobel Prize in Economics laureate, Professor Banerjee. You mentioned in The Nature of Poverty that the poor often don't read, or feel bored once they do, but are keen on watching TV, playing games, or scrolling through TikTok. Why is that?
This is actually related to the lifelong impact of family poverty and living environment on people's thinking and behavior. This influence makes poverty pass down like DNA. The environment of poverty often limits people's choices and imagination, leading them to be more satisfied with short-term happiness rather than long-term investment.
We often say knowledge changes destiny, but in a poor environment, people often find it hard to see the long-term benefits of knowledge. So, how do you think we can break this vicious cycle and truly realize the power of knowledge?
First, we need to realize that poverty is not just a lack of material, but more a limitation in thinking. To break this limitation, we need to start from education, culture, and social environment, creating an environment that encourages exploration and innovation, allowing people to truly recognize the value of knowledge.
You once mentioned that the poor and us have no essential difference in thinking. Can you explain further?
There are several reasons why the poor are poor. Firstly, their risk-averse measures are relatively backward. For example, they might choose high-interest loans to avoid potential health risks, but such choices are almost impossible for them to escape poverty. Secondly, the poor often only care about the present and don't make any long-term plans. For instance, they might not value education because it's a long-term investment, and they tend to prefer short-term returns. Thirdly, due to cognitive limitations, they have many prejudices about things they don't understand, which is also a mistake we often make.
You mentioned that the poor might hear voices like, "You'll never be able to afford that refrigerator, just have a cup of tea instead." This seems to be a matter of self-control. How do you view this?
Exactly. Self-control is like a muscle. We feel tired when we use it. For the poor, they might feel that a long-term goal is too distant and choose short-term satisfaction. This is also why they find it hard to save money. But this doesn't mean they lack self-control, but their environment and life pressures make them more likely to make short-term choices.
Living in a relatively affluent world, do we also have this problem? Do we sometimes also choose short-term satisfaction over long-term goals?
That's a good question. In fact, we do have this problem. For example, many young people are addicted to online games because they provide short-term satisfaction. But in the long run, this might have a negative impact on their work and studies. So, whether we're poor or rich, we need to learn self-control and strive for long-term goals.